Have you ever found yourself trapped in a loop of incessant thoughts, analyzing and reanalyzing situations until you're completely drained? You're not alone. But what if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, left us invaluable wisdom to break free from this mental entanglement? Welcome to today's video, where we'll uncover 10 Stoic strategies rooted in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius to help you stop overthinking and regain your peace of mind. First method: recognize the impermanence of thoughts. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the transient nature of life. Similarly, it's crucial to recognize that our thoughts too are impermanent. They come and go like clouds in the sky. The issue begins when we attach ourselves to these thoughts, giving them more substance and importance than they deserve. Let's consider an example. Imagine you've just had a difficult interaction with a colleague at work, and now you're ruminating on every detail, second-guessing what you said or did. Instead of endlessly replaying the situation, pause for a moment and remind yourself, this thought is temporary, and it will pass. By doing so, you separate yourself from the thought and diminish its power over you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present moment. When we remind ourselves that thoughts are fleeting, it becomes easier to let them drift away instead of latching onto them. This creates room in your mind for more constructive thinking and peace, allowing you to act in alignment with your Stoic values. Overthinking usually leads us down a rabbit hole of imaginary scenarios and interpretations, often far removed from reality. Recognizing the impermanence of thoughts provides an exit from this maze, redirecting our mental energy towards actions that are in our control and serve us better. So the next time you find yourself entangled in a web of overthinking, step back and remind yourself of the transient nature of thoughts. This simple yet effective Stoic practice will help you regain clarity and composure. Method 2. Limit your scope of concern. Marcus Aurelius constantly advised us to focus on the elements within our control and to liberate ourselves from the concern over what's outside our sphere of influence. In the realm of overthinking, this Stoic principle can be a game changer. Take the case of someone anxious about a forthcoming job interview. While it's natural to think about the outcome, dwelling on aspects you can't control, like the interviewer's mood or the questions they'll ask, only fuels anxiety and overthinking. Instead, shift your focus to the things you can control: your preparation, punctuality, and presentation. By deliberately choosing to concern ourselves only with what we can influence, we draw a boundary around our mental energy. This doesn't mean you're indifferent to the world around you, but rather that you're honing in on where your time and thoughts are best invested. Stoicism equips us to act meaningfully within our realm of control, while maintaining emotional equilibrium about the rest. It's the epitome of practical wisdom, knowing where to expend your mental and emotional energy effectively. When you start to overthink, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, make the conscious decision to steer your thoughts away and channel them into something actionable. This reorientation enables you to live in alignment with your core Stoic principles. In a world where our attention is constantly being pulled in various directions, limiting your scope of concern could be your bulwark against the onslaught of overthinking. Use this tool wisely and liberate yourself from unnecessary mental burdens. Method 3. Question the reality of your thoughts. One of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy is the art of questioning. Marcus Aurelius himself often pondered the nature of his thoughts and the world around him. This method urges us to do the same, particularly when our mind starts spiraling into the labyrinth of overthinking. Here's a scenario for you. You sent a text message to a friend and haven't received a response for hours. Your mind starts to generate a myriad of possibilities. Are they mad at you? Did you say something wrong? Now, instead of letting your mind run wild, apply Stoic questioning. Is this thought based on fact, or is it an assumption? You see, our thoughts often masquerade as truths when they are merely conjectures or interpretations. By questioning the reality of your thoughts, you're pulling back the curtain and revealing them for what they often are: baseless assumptions. Ask yourself questions like, do I have concrete evidence to support this thought? Or, is this a rational line of thinking, or is my mind making leaps? By applying this analytical rigor, you dismantle the edifice of overthinking, brick by imaginary brick. Remember, in Stoicism, the aim is not to suppress emotions or thoughts, but to understand their origin and assess their validity. This way, you avoid being swept away by the current of irrational thoughts and are better equipped to navigate life's complexities with grace and composure. So the next time you're spiraling into overthinking, take a leaf out of Marcus Aurelius's book and question the reality of your thoughts. Unchecked, they may grow into monsters. Scrutinized, they often vanish like shadows under the light of reason. Method 4. Break problems into smaller pieces. When faced with a big challenge or a complex issue, the mind tends to overload itself with thoughts, creating a chaotic whirlpool of overthinking. Marcus Aurelius gave us a simple yet brilliant solution for this. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Then find at least one thing that you can do this day, and do it well. In other words, Marcus Aurelius is advising us to take complex tasks and break them down into simpler, more manageable pieces. This is not just strategic, it's also very stoic in its approach. Consider you're facing a difficult project at work with a tight deadline. Your mind is buzzing with concerns about the scale of the work, the limited time, and the high expectations. Instead of allowing your mind to inflate the situation, take a stoic approach. Break the project down into individual tasks, prioritize them, and focus on completing one at a time with full attention. By dissecting bigger problems into smaller tasks, you're actually applying a mental divide and conquer strategy. You're making the issue more digestible for your mind, which in turn diminishes the anxiety and the mental clutter that leads to overthinking. Moreover, focusing on smaller tasks provides you with achievable goals, and each accomplishment fuels your momentum, propelling you towards the ultimate objective with increased confidence and clarity. Remember, the path to overcoming monumental challenges often begins with taking simple steps. Applying this Stoic method allows you to replace the overwhelming scope of a problem with a series of small, actionable tasks. It's about empowering yourself to act effectively instead of getting paralyzed by overthinking. Method 5. Reflect, don't react. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized the importance of self-reflection and cautioned against impulsive reactions. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of overthinking, this is an invaluable insight. Imagine you receive a critical email from your boss. Your immediate instinct might be to dwell on the negativity, perhaps questioning your capabilities or fearing for your job security. This is a natural reaction, but a reactive one that spirals you down the hole of overthinking. Instead, apply the Stoic method of reflection before reaction. Pause for a moment and detach yourself from the immediate emotional charge. Ask yourself, what is the actual content of this message? Is it a feedback that I can use for improvement, or is it simply a comment made in a moment of frustration? By doing this, you give your mind the space to process the situation rationally rather than emotionally. Reflecting allows you to dissect the situation and isolate the elements that truly matter from those that are merely distractions. It enables you to see the issue not as an insurmountable problem, but as a situation that calls for a thoughtful response. This way, you manage to steer clear of the abyss of overthinking and instead navigate your way towards constructive solutions. This Stoic practice of reflection also aids in emotional regulation, helping you maintain a level head. It equips you with the wisdom to respond, not react, making you more effective in dealing with challenges. So the next time you're on the verge of overthinking, remember Marcus Aurelius' advice. Take a step back, reflect on the situation, and only then decide your course of action. This reflective gap is often all you need to escape the snare of overthinking. Method 6. Ground yourself in the present. One of Marcus Aurelius' most profound observations is, do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble in your mind the many and varied troubles which have come to you in the past and will come again in the future, but ask yourself with regard to every present difficulty, what is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance? Overthinking often happens when our minds wander into the realms of the past or future, both territories we can't control. We agonize over past mistakes or worry about future uncertainties, forgetting the one time frame where we actually hold some power, the present moment. Consider this. You're about to give a public speech, and your mind starts to flood with all sorts of catastrophic scenarios. What if you forget your lines? What if people laugh? In situations like this, bring your focus sharply back to the present. What can you do right now? Perhaps it's rehearsing one more time, or maybe it's simply taking a few deep breaths to calm your nerves. By anchoring yourself in the present, you're essentially silencing the white noise that fuels overthinking. You're zeroing in on the actionable steps you can take here and now, rather than losing yourself in unproductive worries or regrets. This mental anchoring is incredibly empowering, as it allows you to channel your energy into doing your best in the present situation. The Stoic practice of grounding yourself in the present moment serves as a sanctuary against the chaos of overthinking. When you find your thoughts spiraling out of control, pull yourself back into the now. Observe your immediate surroundings, focus on your breath, or engage in a sensory experience to bring your attention back to where it truly matters. Method 7. Use negative visualization. Negative visualization is a classic Stoic technique. At first glance, it might seem counterintuitive. How can thinking negatively help against overthinking, which often has a negative slant to begin with? The Stoics argue that by periodically contemplating worst-case scenarios, you can gain a renewed appreciation for what you have and diffuse the ticking bomb of anxiety and overthinking. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." This Stoic perspective encourages us to face the possibility of loss or failure head-on, not to make us fearful, but to prepare us for life's inevitable changes and challenges. Imagine you're anxious about an upcoming job interview, and this is triggering a whirlwind of overthinking. In this situation, employ negative visualization. What's the worst that can happen? You don't get the job. While that's not ideal, is it the end of the world? Certainly not. You'll find other opportunities, and life will go on. This simple mental exercise can dramatically reduce the gravity of the situation in your mind, making it far more manageable. Negative visualization serves as a reality check, diminishing the often exaggerated fears and what-ifs that fuel overthinking. It equips you with the mental fortitude to face whatever comes your way. The key is to use these visualizations to decrease attachment and dependency on external outcomes. By doing so, you liberate yourself from the mental shackles of fear, insecurity, and of course, overthinking. So, the next time you find yourself drowning in a sea of overthought, take a leaf from the Stoic book and practice some negative visualization. It will not only provide you with perspective, but also arm you with the courage to face life's uncertainties with a clear and composed mind. Method 8. Practice gratitude. Rejoice in what you have, Seneca advises us, reminding that gratitude is a direct route to tranquility and contentment. While Stoicism often emphasizes the importance of preparing for adversity, it also teaches us to celebrate the good in our lives. This is where gratitude plays a pivotal role, especially in combating overthinking. When we're wrapped up in overthinking, it's all too easy to focus solely on what's wrong or what could go wrong, completely overlooking what's actually going well. This negative bias can hold us captive in a state of perpetual discontent. Practicing gratitude breaks this cycle by redirecting our focus toward the positive aspects of our lives. Consider this. You're consumed by the stress of an upcoming project deadline and find yourself overthinking every possible scenario where things could go wrong. Take a break from this exhausting cycle and list down 5 things that you're genuinely grateful for. It could be your family, your health, or even the simple pleasure of a hot cup of coffee. This act shifts your mental focus from scarcity to abundance, effectively dampening the cycle of overthinking. In Stoic philosophy, gratitude isn't just an emotional state, but a conscious choice. By choosing to acknowledge and appreciate the good around us, we cultivate a mindset that is resilient against the tides of overthinking. We teach ourselves to find contentment in what we have rather than perpetually seeking more, and in doing so, create a fortress of mental serenity. So the next time your thoughts start spiraling, hit the pause button and practice a moment of Stoic gratitude. Acknowledge the good, appreciate the present, and watch how this simple act transforms your mental landscape. Method 9. Examine your values and beliefs. Epictetus once declared, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This Stoic insight reveals that the true battleground of overthinking often lies not in the events that happen to us, but in our beliefs and values that interpret these events. Overthinking usually stems from some form of cognitive dissonance, a clash between reality and our expectations or beliefs. Maybe you're incessantly ruminating over why someone treated you unfairly or why you're not progressing as quickly in your career as you hoped. Such bouts of overthinking often signal a need to re-examine your values and beliefs. For example, if you're overthinking about a recent failure at work, ask yourself, what underlying belief is causing me so much distress? Perhaps it's a deeply ingrained notion that failure is unacceptable, or maybe it's the belief that your worth is tied to your professional success. Are these beliefs serving you, or are they setting you up for endless cycles of overthinking and dissatisfaction? Once you've identified these core beliefs, the Stoic practice advises scrutinizing them critically. Are they rational? Are they in alignment with the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance that the Stoics so highly esteem? If not, it's time for a conscious revaluation. Update your belief system to align with values that empower you rather than entrap you. Method 10. Accept what you cannot change. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and emperor, urged us to accept the things to which fate binds us and love the people with whom fate brings us together, but to do so with our whole heart. This Stoic wisdom encapsulates the essence of acceptance, embracing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Many instances of overthinking stem from a resistance to accept situations, people, or outcomes that are beyond our control. This resistance is a futile struggle against the immutable laws of nature and existence. Stoicism teaches us that the path to serenity is not in altering external conditions, but in accepting them and focusing on what we can change, our own thoughts and actions. Imagine you've had a falling out with a close friend, and despite all efforts, it seems unlikely that the friendship will recover. You find yourself stuck in a loop, overthinking about what you could have done differently. This is where acceptance becomes your strongest ally. Accept that people and situations change. Accept that despite your best efforts, some things are beyond your influence. This acceptance doesn't make the loss easier, but it makes it bearable and frees you from the quagmire of endless what-ifs. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By accepting the imperfections of life, you shift your focus from unproductive overthinking to actionable steps in line with Stoic virtues. Acceptance is not defeat. It's the fertile ground from which new growth can arise. So when you find yourself engulfed by overthinking, reach for the Stoic tool of acceptance. Acknowledge your limitations, embrace them, and redirect your focus to the realm where you have true authority, your own self. Final thoughts. It's important to remember that Stoicism isn't about quick fixes, it's about lifelong transformation. What you've gathered today are not just isolated techniques, but components of an overarching Stoic lifestyle aimed at attaining mental clarity and emotional resilience. The true power of these methods unfolds when you integrate them into the very fabric of your day-to-day life. But don't just take my word for it. We're building a Stoic community right here, and I invite you to share your experiences, challenges, and triumphs in the comments below. Let's learn from each other as we strive to embody these principles. After all, Stoicism thrives best when it's a shared journey. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom tailored to the complexities of modern life. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. Until then, may you navigate the complexities of your thoughts with the compass of Stoic wisdom, emerging not just as a thinker, but as a wise philosopher of your own life.